In this video, we're going to talk about basic strategy settings. That is all the settings that are in this area right here. Okay? And go through all of these settings down to the bot timing so that you understand it. This setting right here, the percentage gain, is a default setting for what you want as the minimum percentage you want to sell above the price that you bought, right? So if I bought something and the bot can't find a way to trade at these values, it's going to default to this to say, hey, if you see that it's made this percentage, go ahead and sell. If I made this percent, just go ahead and get the sell. This way, it's kind of a fallover plan built into the system. Now, this buy level is important. Now, people have set crazy buy levels. This buy level at 3% is actually pretty good, but it does mean that you will not get a lot of buys. But in some cases, when you shift into a bear market, that actually isn't bad. I've actually set mine to 2% on my bot, so that if it falls 2% below the exponential moving average, it's going to go ahead and make a buy. So these things are important. Now, Jay, what is exponential moving average? This is why you should have taken Sensei Kevlar's videos seriously. I'm not going to walk you through how to be a trader in this system. I'm going to walk you through how to get better results with your bot. Now, 2 to 3 is the best settings that most people have found. As you see, Gunthy, who the creator of Gumbot, had it preset at 3 to say 3% down, go ahead and potentially make the buy. So you can leave it at 2, you can set it to 3, you can go lower, but you are not going to earn as much. I believe a higher value here for a dip before it buys is the best way to go. 2 to 3% is a very good medium to be able to have your bot run at. Bollinger Band. This one I will explain. If we go into this setting, this is my Coinigy account, and I have it set up with Bollinger Band settings. For those of you that don't know how to do that, if you're on TradingView or you're on Coinigy, you have access to see these things. In the indicators, you would actually go here, and right down there's Bollinger Bands. What I've done is when it comes up with different colors. I've set the top color to red because I want to sell at these numbers, and I set the bottom color to green, which you can easily do by double clicking here, and in your upper, set it to red, and your lower, set it to green. And in the middle, I set it to yellow just so I had contrast to be able to see on the screen that I had set up in my Coinigy account. So what it does is the bot, when you're dealing with the settings here in Bollinger Band, so if I set this to Bollinger Band, when you set these to Bollinger Band, in this setting it's saying the percent low and the percent high of the Bollinger Band that you want to buy, or above the low and below the high. What that means is above this line and below this line. So it's currently set at 25% and 25%, meaning somewhere in here it's going to buy, and somewhere in here it's going to sell, and somewhere in here it's going to buy. Now, while that is pretty good, but you can see a problem with that right here. If I was to buy at 25%, I'm buying, and guess what the market just did? It dipped. It dipped, but I bought here, and now I'm holding a bag all the way down here. This is why I keep my settings a little bit different. But I want you to understand, by looking at this graph, you can see where having too high of a Bollinger Band would be a problem for you. I keep it tight. I like a very close Bollinger Band. Now, sometimes the bot is a bot, and if it's noticing that the run is doesn't seem to be lasting too long, it won't make a buy. And you'll be like, well, Jay, it doesn't buy at these settings. Maybe it wasn't supposed to buy at those settings because it wasn't a sustained gain. Maybe the bot noticed something in the equations that it does that it doesn't decide to make a buy, or it did make a buy for you, but the market moved before it could be filled. And then the market tanked because it did not keep going up. The bot will keep attempting to buy as long as the market is consistently returning what it's supposed to. It's, hey, if it's going up, it's going up. You can notice in a few trades, this thing went and took a little bit of a dip, then it went up. Even with my tight settings of right now, I have my Bollinger Band here set to 5%. And you could say, let's say if you even set this to 5%. So if you used a full Bollinger Band setting, it would be, all right, maybe it would have bought here, but maybe not. Maybe it would have bought here, even though that's a real short window for the bot to make that trade. If it did buy, it went down. You might have been scared if you were watching, but then it did this tear up. And then it went and did this tear down. So this is why I say the bot won't do that. If you have the settings too high, the bot will make trades here, and you'll be like, well, I can do that. But what if the market, what if you had bought right here because your settings were set to 40 or 50% to buy from here? What if it bought here or even bought here? Now all of a sudden it bought, and look what the market did to you. I don't like these settings to be too close to the middle. Yes, you can get a sale, but guess what happened right here? You now have a bag all the way down here. Okay? So that's why these settings in Bollinger Band are extremely important to set properly. The next one that you have here is step gain. Is a gain. I haven't done too much research on this one. I apologize because I don't use that at all. Because it's really just this one setting, and I don't like using this setting at all. It's just too simplistic. So I haven't done much work with just a pure gain solution. That's why it's by default set to step gain, because it makes more sense. It has a little bit, you get a little bit more control. We already talked about step gain, which was this would buy at these levels, or sell if you set this to step gain at these levels. The next one is ping pong. Now, where ping pong, and I chose Steem on purpose, where ping pong is interesting is, let's zoom. This is, as you see, September 28th. We started making a run in Steem, right? But let's go down here. Do you see for a long time what this was doing? Look all the way back to September 23rd, what it was doing. Going to a particular level, let's just say right here, and going down to a particular level, let's say right here. So here to here, it just kept playing in and out of this one channel. This is called sideways pattern. This is a sideways pattern. So this is where ping ponging would help you. So what you could do, and I use Coinergy for this, is you can set, let's say, a horizontal line, draw one right at this bottom since it seems a little bit more consistent there, and let's set another one, say right about there. Oops, sorry. I'm actually going to use a shortcut in Coinergy, which is Control H. Just click. Oops. Sorry. Alt H. So I'm going to use Alt H to be able to get that line in there. And now you notice a channel has formed. This is your sideways pattern. So what you could really do is then take this number right here and copy it, go back to your bot, and your buy price is this price right here. And then your sell price, if you double click this, will be this right here. hold on, that just messed up. Let me do this again. Copy, go in here, there. So now here is your channel. Now if you're going to do this, let's zoom in a little bit closer, and let's zoom this up a bit so that you can see this. I actually would not do this that tight because it's not always going to go to this bottom. I would probably move it a little bit tighter to say right here. And then the sell off is pretty decent right where it is. What I want to do is buy before it hits its immediate bottom and sell before it reaches its immediate top. This way what you're doing is you're having it buy and sell within this pattern better. So you're activating your buys and sells. So I'll double click that and grab the code, the price on that, and I would actually change this to this now. So there's your ping pong. So on tickers like Steem, or if you see a long, look how long this pattern ran for. I mean, it didn't start there. You could actually move it up maybe here for a little while. But for the most part, look how long that ticker ran in. And in fact, you probably wouldn't even need to move it up higher, right? You see how this thing is ping-ponging right here? You would actually need to move that line up to catch some of these buys right there, or you would have no movement whatsoever. Now, this is not a big gain. This is a very small gain, but this is what ping-ponging in here would do. Now it wouldn't, again, you'd have to take in how much is going to trade to do that. You'd have to take in what your cost of trade is, what so it'd have to be really valuable to you. This is probably not the best means, because if I do a price range on just between this line and this line, and let me put this right here, you can see this is only really a 1% gain. So you're ping-ponging for 1%, but you're ping-ponging 1% all the way through. So it's not a huge gain, so you'd have to tweak your settings to be able to make this work in the system. But you can see 1%, 1%, 1%, 1%. You could ping-pong your way to 1%, maybe not through this section of the actual trade, but right here. You could then ping pong your way through this entire trade right here. All right. So from here, September 24th, all the way to here, September 20th. So 3 days, you had this channel that you could have made a bunch of trades in and out of this position in ping ponging. Now I haven't tested ping ponging myself. I don't use that as my settings, but that's something that you can think about of what you want to do with the bot. And I believe that's it. So that's it, guys. For the strategy setting. So we've gone through all of these. Now, this area here, your balance, this is important. This max balance is what you're wanting to trade each time you throw it out. Well, every time you buy on a ticker, when the bot makes a trade, this is how much you're going to spend. My suggestion to you is to add another 0. All right? Especially when you're starting out. I'm still using 0.001 as my trade. It does not net me a lot of money, but it does help me to have capital to make more trades, to be able to do more tests. You're going to be testing this entire time. This is a new piece of software. This is a new ideology in the cryptocurrency space. So this isn't again, like we said in the beginning, not a set it and forget it thing. So minimizing your risk up front is going to be your best weapon when using this. Security margin. Security margin is what you're willing to lose. So when let's say the bot made a buy, and let's scroll this over. Let's say you made the bot bought right here, right? And then the market took a tanker. What this setting is saying what % decrease of the price that you bought it at are you willing to have the bot buy back in, to basically sell off and just cut your losses. I suggest not to set this low. Reason why I'm saying that is I would rather hold a bag on a good currency. I'll always tell you value trade, value trade, value trade. I trade on platforms like Steem. I trade on Ethereum because they're long-term plays. I'll trade on tickers that I've done the due diligence on. I've done my research for, and I've made sure that those coins are going to be around in 5 years. Not on my ideology of what I think. I know the company is transparent. I can look on their page and see their team. I can see their roadmap and see what they're getting ready to do. This ideology helps you pick better coins that you're going to trade on, and you'll say, oh, you know what? It might take a little dip. I might have to hold the bag for a while, but because I believe in their tech, I think that the coin is going to go up because they might be the leader in their field. That's how I felt about Ethereum when I made the purchase at $11. When I saw them, I saw that the lead developer, Vitalik, was out there. He was doing videos. He was at conferences. He was talking about his technology. And from me seeing what he was trying to do, it made sense. So security margin, I have mine at I believe either 80 or 90. I said I was going to set this to maybe 999 so that it will never sell. This way you can come back, and when it goes back up, which if you pick the value coin it will, then you're not selling off at a loss. You can hold your bag until it gets back to a profitable margin. I'll discuss this more in the chapter where we talk about Coinergy and setting an alert system, but setting up your alert system to let you know when it's back in play. Or what I'm doing now is setting an alert system when it has hit a percentage on gain. So I'll say, you know what? Don't bother me about this ticker until it's 10% up. And then I'll get an alert when it's 10% up, and then I'll set my robot to attack it again. And now I have now hit a 10% gain or even higher if it kept going past my alert screen. That's the best way that I can say to play the security margin, is to not use it. But make sure you do your due diligence on what you're willing. If you're not willing to sit there and hold a bag for 6 months or a month or a couple weeks, if you're not willing to be patient with this, then that's probably not. Maybe you can cut your losses earlier. But I don't want the bot to actually trade at losses. I would rather have the bot trade in a value coin, hold that trade, even if the market does decide to move down on me, that's okay. It's okay for the market to move down on me if I expect it to go up. Now, on things like Steem, as I showed you here, would I be having the bot trading this high? No. I'll actually cut my losses here and let the bot go back down. But that's up to you on your trading strategy. Indicator settings on the Bollinger Band. So when we set this to here, to Bollinger Band, I set mine to get 5. I want to limit the latest prices that I'm getting for the calculation of how this trades at 500, so I can get a deep enough number to run with. I want this to be higher because I want it to have more data. It's going to be storing more data, but I'd rather it store the data because I want the bot to not just trade easy. I want it to trade smart. And the more I give it, is the smarter it gets. This is the level I've set it at where I don't have any issues so far. I might go higher later, but I'm going to have to test that as I go out. But I'm giving you the settings I'm currently using. Max latest prices for the watcher, same number right here. I kept it at the default, 30. Give me the last 30 prices that you're going to make your trade on. This number might go up over time. I left these the same. The EMA period, I leave those default. I'm not going to go into those because I don't change them, so I haven't gone into that. And the candlesticks period as the default is 15. I've left it at 15 as my default. Time delay is 120 for the price. I don't have my time delay that high. I actually have set this because this is in seconds. I don't want this to trade every 2 minutes or to go look every 2 minutes to update prices. That's way too long in this market. I actually have this down to either 30 or 15. If I don't have a lot of tickers, 15 seconds is currently what I have it go look to update prices, because the price moves so fast that I want the bot to do this, to go in. But I'm keeping it just at here because you got to remember, you're going to the site, your Bittrex account, and it's grabbing that information from Bittrex. If you go too fast on this and you have too many tickers open, it's going to sit there and say, hey, you're calling the website way too much, you're taking up way too many resources, and it's going to shut down that it's going to block you from getting the data, not allowing you to trade. So I don't do my ticker any faster than 15 seconds. Now, people like ECC has it set for 30 and they're doing pretty well. I may go up on a couple tickers, but the fast movers, 20 to 15 is where you want this to be. And the bot delay on this, if something fails, 30 seconds. So if something errors out in the screen, which will show up here, once it errors out, it's going to wait 30 seconds and then go back and take care of what it needs to take care of by grabbing more data from here. So this is an overview of all the settings now. Everything that you need to basically be able to set up your bot and kind of understand what the bot is doing and what it's trying to accomplish. Something I want to make sure we talk about is this area right here. So your stop, start, load, and save. Now, when you're working on a ticker, let's say this BTC ticker that we have here, when you make changes to any of these settings right here, the first thing you're going to want to make sure you do is save it. So it's going to tell you, you save the settings. So even if I want to keep these settings and I wanted to do, let's say, ETH or Ethereum, then I could then save my settings and it would now have those settings pre-saved. So when your bot loads back up again, all you would have to do is hit load. And now you see we have those two tickers sitting right there. So I can now load back my Steem and be able to work with the bot settings that I had left. Then all I'd have to then do is hit start and the bot will start and do whatever transactions it needs to do if it makes any trades for you. If I want a ticker to stop once it loads and it goes, because again, I'm not on my system where this is my trading system. So if I need this to, if there's a particular ticker that is trading and I don't have a bag or it's holding a bag for a long time, then I'll just simply hit stop that ticker, and then I can just wait for it, setting my alerts for it to get back into play. But I wanted to make sure I talked about these settings and how I use them to be able to either start a ticker, stop, start, load, and of course save tickers or settings that I have for particular tickers.